Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia. On this episode, we have a special guest, Susie Briscoe. Susie is a chair and CEO at Acer Coaching Associates. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Susie Briscoe.
Well, thank you so much,
Susie,
Mohammed.
welcome.
It's really wonderful to be with you.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
I was coming back from India. I'd done a recce out there for my charity that we started up. And when I came back, I was on the wrong time clock. So I was watching television at silly o'clock in the morning, and the channel I opened it to was Open University. And I was looking for some kind of trashy program just to, mind chewing stuff so that I could just relax and hopefully get to sleep. But I was absolutely intrigued and entranced with Roz Taylor, who was hosting 4 hours of university material, helping people working through their own problems in life. And I just was intrigued and I wanted to find out more. And that's how I decided on becoming a coach with my daughter's help. I could go on more, but I suspect I'm out of time.
What are the top 3 reasons why do people fail?
Well, I don't believe people do fail, actually. It's like Edison. He found, was it 1,700 ways or 17,000 ways how not to make a light bulb? We have challenges. Everyone has challenges. But that is what keeps us alive. If I'm still having a challenge, I know I have to think, and that keeps these little gray cells in the brain working. So I don't use the word challenge. Fail. I prefer to use challenge.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Oh, with great difficulty. How did I recover from it? We lost our house, our home. It was, in today's money, it would be worth something in the region of $3.5 or $4 million. And we lost it completely and everything, which meant we were sofa surfing. Once we were out of the house, we didn't have money to buy anywhere else because we'd lost everything. And we sofa surfed with 3 different friends for 3 months. And another friend paid for my pets, my animals, to be in kenneling. And it was wonderful at the end of that time when we got into a rented house and we were all back together again. It was very challenging. That really was a challenge. What did I learn from it? That no matter what comes your way, the human spirit eventually manages to overcome it. It's just you need to be positive. Sometimes it's difficult, but I recommend that you try not to have such a failure as we did.
What what are your top 3 success secrets that others can model from?
I think being authentic. You need to know that in your head, it doesn't matter. No, let me start that again. I think when we lost the house was when I realized I could still show up at my meetings on my charities and boards because I was still the same person. They didn't know where I was living or what my habitat was like. And so I was still the same person. And that taught me a lot about going forward. So to recognize that you don't need material things. You just need to be yourself, to be authentic and be real. I can't add to that, I don't think. Be yourself. Just be yourself.
What motivates you within?
I've got a little powerhouse going inside me. I think when I was a child, I was always taught to be good. And when I got to be a teenager, I thought, well, I don't really want to be that good. So I changed my name from Sue to Susie, Susan to Sue. And then later on in life, I changed it to Susie. And now, because I'm a grandmother, I'm called Zizi by my grandson. So it's just being, I don't know, I love my family. I would do anything for my family. And that life is very important to me. And I think that's what keeps me going. I think that's the answer. That's family keeps me going. And the wonderful contacts and colleagues that I have.
What is your company's motto?
Nil desperandum, never despair.
Who is your ideal client?
Well, you are, my darling Mohammed. You are perfectly my ideal client. But what I will say is they are somebody, they need probably to have attained a certain success in their lives, maybe be 45 upwards. There is no upper limit. And they need to have discovered that everything is not enough. When they discover that everything is not enough, that is when they're ready to understand material things do not satisfy the soul. And that is when I hope to find those people so that they can work with me. We can get back to basics and find out more about what their legacy and their real life purpose is.
How do you find your ideal client?
Well, I'm going to say with difficulty. It's the truth. They're all out there. They're waiting to be discovered. I usually have referrals. I have quite a few referrals. And the next thing would be via LinkedIn and Facebook. I have a VA who, executive assistant, who works virtually for me. And she helps me find those people around the world. I am a global international business and life executive. I help people with their lifestyles. So they're preferably business people who have got to the top of their ladder and have realized that everything is not enough.
What are your products or services?
They're mainly bespoke. So I work one-on-one with clients, and I've been doing this for many years now. And it provides a very intimate relationship. I do have products that I can sell off the shelf, as it were, but it's not the same as working with somebody on their legacy or their life purpose, which life purpose usually comes first.
Why someone should buy from you?
Because I've been walking my talk for the last 45 plus years. I've got all the experience. I suddenly realized I was living my own legacy, and that had not been my intent at all. I was just living my life. And I think it's always a good idea to buy from somebody who's actually walked that walk, talked the talk. And hopefully they want to work with me. Building rapport is most important.
How do you crush your competition?
Well, now that's such an interesting question because I don't feel I need to crush them. And that is not me being arrogant and saying, hey, look at me over here. This is me saying I love to collaborate. And that way we work not necessarily in a joint venture, but we help each other. And I do that with a lot of my colleagues who I would suggest you're putting up as competition. I think there's room for everybody because the world is so large. And when you're working at an international level, it really doesn't matter where your clients are. So there's room for everyone. So we collaborate.
How do you deliver a 5-star client experience?
This is a difficult one to answer, but I believe it is by being authentic. If you're not yourself, it's very difficult to keep that act going. You've got to be yourself. And I think clients know when you're shooting a line, and they don't want to work with people like that. And these days, especially, we have got more sophisticated in understanding the people we're working with and who we want to work with. So I do my best to be relevant, to be real, and to be authentic.
How do you convert your clients into your brand ambassadors?
Well, I think we've just covered that by the treatment they receive in the 5-star process. I have a sequence of working with my clients, and I have always had the most amazing relationships with them. And this is going back to right from the beginning. It's a natural, we evolve naturally into conversation so that it's very real and very present. And because of that, they talk about me in their own lives. When I'm not with them, they talk about me. And that stimulates interest of other people. And that's how they become my brand ambassadors.
How do you handle rejections?
I don't seem to have that many rejections, funnily enough. And I'm grateful for that. But if I do, if I get rejected by someone, I just think, well, that's someone else that I won't be working with, and I can move on to the next person. I'm always sure there will be the next person. So it's keeping my sense of self and my sense of humor. I think that's important.
How do you handle an angry client?
Well, this one, I did giggle at this one, because in all honesty, I can tell you, I've never had to handle an angry client. And I think the reason, you really made me think about this. The reason, I believe, is because we get clarity right at the outset. I always have a get to know you session where we just talk, like we are now, except it's not so scheduled as we know what the questions are. We just talk. And then after that, we get to the questions and criteria to make sure that they fit my criteria just as much as I fit theirs. So no angry clients, just lots of love shared all around the world.
We are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
Oh, I try hard. Yes. Do you want me to say?
What are you grateful for today?
Being alive, having my health. Without your health, you have nothing.
How do you start your day?
I allow myself 2 hours of self time, and I come to gradually. I greet the world very slowly. And in that way, having certain rituals, I look at the day, I feel the atmosphere and the energy. I listen to the birds. I love my environment. I live out in the countryside. And this isn't very quick fire, is it? I'm so sorry, but I have 2 hours before I have to dive into my day.
How young are you?
Oh, at the same age as my shoe size. and that is where I really like being. I've done all the angst and all of that, and I've got to a stage in my life where been there, done that, not in a cocky way, but just in the way of allowing myself to be me. And it's great fun once you get over the self thinking, that constantly thinking about yourself, and you start thinking about other people. It works.
What you want to do when you grow up?
Well, we've already said I'm not going to grow up. I'm going to be constantly at this age. That would be 6.5, actually. And I'm just going to go on enjoying my life. And enjoyment is the most important thing. If you're not enjoying it, you need to reassess. Maybe you need me to help you reassess.
What are your plan to achieve your goal?
How do I achieve my goal? I just put one foot in front of the other. It's a very easy, solid method that has worked down through the centuries. And you just keep on going, keep on keeping on.
How will you feel in case you don't achieve your goal?
I'd feel very miserable, but that isn't allowed to happen, because I have this spirit inside me that lights up and just keeps on giving me the inspiration to go forward. I love that. And it's another challenge, and you rise above them.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Well, what I do is look it in the eye, and I can tell you, when we lost a house, it was very, very hard to look that in the eye. You walk through it, you live it, you don't pretend it's not happening, and you just get on with life. Once you got over the PSTD that happened as a result of the problem.
What is the advice you will give to a younger yourself?
Oh, to believe in yourself. I was terribly shy as a kid, and I would never have believed that I could do what I'm doing now. Not in a million years. I'm grateful for that.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
Well, again, because my husband unfortunately died in 2016, I don't have to worry about a significant other. But when he was alive, I can remember when I went to the first coaching session, and this was a complete change in direction for me. I was so impressed with what they were teaching that I signed up to become a student immediately. And I then learnt to become a life coach, a business coach, a mentor to coachees, promising coaches, and also a supervisor of professional coaches. So that is, I just be myself and get on with it. I have to have somebody to bounce ideas off sometimes, though.
Why being impactful is important to you?
I'm not so sure it's really that important to me, but it is important for how I show up with my clients. And I think you need to be strong and powerful, being yourself, but being your strong and personal best, as it were. And that helps with being impactful, walking your own talk.
What do you want to be remembered for?
As a kind and loving, generous mother and grandmother, and to be professionally remembered as somebody who fulfilled their promises and did everything they could to help everyone they knew.
How can we support you?
Ooh, that's a lovely question. I've just published my book, my second book, Ascension to Legacy, and you can get it on Amazon. It went international #1 bestseller in India, Canada, the UK, America. I can't remember. There were 5 places, and I can't remember what the last one. Oh, Australia. So I'm really happy with that. It's called Ascension to Legacy, and I have an author's page on Amazon.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have a few words about your today's guest experience on the show. Here is my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
It's so exciting. It really is. It's lovely. I love being interviewed by you, Mohammed. And it's a real honor to be with you, and that you trusted me to meet your tribe, your audience. So I'm very grateful for that.
What would you say as a final word?
My final word, well, my motto, Nildas Brandum, and always to look to be your highest and best self. I hope that doesn't sound too pie, but it's the driving force that keeps me going.
Thank you so much, Susie, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. Really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.
Thank you so much.